Today, we are delighted to be joined by David Caulfield, Learning and Development Manager at ZincWorks. ZincWorks is a global leader in software innovation, specializing in cutting edge technologies for the telecommunications and financial services industries. Thank you for joining us today, David.
Thanks for having me, Jessica. Good to be on.
Yeah, lovely to have you here today. David, I'll go straight into, I suppose, asking you some questions in regard to ZincWorks. So I suppose ZincWorks work with mission critical systems in telecoms and financial services. What are the most common software development challenges you're dealing with day to day?
Yeah, so maybe to give a bit of background, so ZincWorks are a software services company. We're based in Athlone. We've got about 200 employees in the company, and we operate in two verticals, financial services being one, and then telecoms being the other. So being a software services company, it means that all of our teams and engineers will build projects for our clients. So we wouldn't own any products ourselves or sell any products ourselves. Clients would hire us in two different ways. They would hire either teams of ZincWorks engineers to go into their environment and build projects within their environment, or they might completely outsource projects to us. So we would build them in-house, and then we would deliver them into the client environment. So we've got quite a diverse set of client portfolio, and it really means that the challenges vary between from client to client, and each client is very, very unique. So on one end of the spectrum, you might have a client who's very process focused, and things like getting onboarded to their environment are very straightforward. And then on the other side, maybe another client doesn't have any processes in place, or things like kind of onboarding or requirement management within the environment is a little bit looser. So the challenges vary from environment to environment, from client to client. And really where our engineers and the teams that do excel in those environments, they're the ones who bring things like proactivity to the table, things like bringing their own kind of experiments, ideas, and ability to learn very quickly within the environment. Over the years, we've developed a kind of a ZincWorks way of doing things with our clients, and that's like taking the best of what we do from each project delivered into each client and amalgamating it into a best practices document. So the challenges are very different between environments, and what's most important is that we kind of adapt and rise to the challenge of whatever the challenge might be in each client and in each customer environment.
Okay, so it seems like there's constant challenges, but that's how you work in that innovative, creative space, and with being proactive and being able to adapt to all of these, I suppose, different types of diverse clients that you have, which
Yeah.
is an interesting place to be, I'd imagine. And I
Yeah, like
suppose,
we've got, like, if I give two quick examples. So one of our clients, they've got a lot of processes in house, and so it's very easy for us to go in and just start delivering software very quickly. Another client we have is more of an IT environment rather than a software delivery environment, and so we have to bring the skills of delivering software. We also have to bring the management structure. We have to know how to engage in discovery with the client to understand their needs, and then be able to bring that exercise and all of that information back to our team so that they can build the right software for the client. It's really kind of a very diverse set of clients that we deal with.
yeah, which means that there's a need for a diverse set of skills as well. And I suppose as AI moves into your day-to-day business, critical systems, what new skills or capabilities are becoming critical for your software teams?
So if we could split it into what we look for in juniors versus what we look for in seniors. AI is obviously a disruptive technology. We've got large language models. We've got a lot of kind of coding agents. You've got Claude, Codex. These are all kind of disruptive tools. I think when it comes to juniors, and so like we're talking here about apprenticeships, the most important thing hasn't changed for those junior engineers, and that's to bring the right attitude, first of all. But then on the kind of technical skills side, it's still about learning the fundamentals of what it means to be an engineer. So right now there's kind of a pattern emerging, particularly in universities, where students might be offloading a lot of the cognitive work to these AI tools, and as a result, they're kind of damaging their long-term development, long-term learning. And it still comes down to, does the junior engineer understand the fundamentals of what it means to be an engineer? And so that comes in terms of your soft skills, being able to interact with people, being able to interact with a team. But on the hard skills, it's not just about learning to use all the new shiny toys that are coming in. It's really still sticking to the fundamentals of, can I program? Can I write software? Do I understand the environment around me, within my team, within the project? And can I deliver value? So when we have with our apprentices, my focus for the apprenticeship program is always, how do we get these folks delivering value into their teams as quickly as possible? And so that comes with the key thing I try to curate is a depth of attitude and a depth of problem solving ability. And that comes over time. You don't just teach that in a week. That comes over the 2 years that the apprenticeship runs for.
Yeah. So I suppose AI is here and it's here to stay. But in terms of your juniors within ZincWorks, they need to know the basics, and need to understand that they need to have that cognitive ability so they can problem solve, and they can increase their level of expertise and build on their knowledge, and like you said, to have the fundamentals, and be able to understand the basics before moving on. And I suppose you, like ZincWorks have been a tech apprentice employer since 2020 now. And I wonder, why did you choose to hire tech apprentices initially, and how is it compared to traditional hiring methods?
Yeah, so I think we're on I can't even remember, is it our 4th or 5th group of apprentices now? So, yeah, like you said, 2020, we started off this program, and the program was initially piloted as an idea to build tailored talent for the long term, right? So it started as a pilot. It was alongside the grad program at the time, alongside the internships, and as a result, it has produced quite strong juniors. So it's 2 years. It's a 2-year long program, and at the end of the 2 years, the objective is to get the apprentices to be productive in a team, either as soon as possible, or to get them ready such that when they go into a team at the end of the 2 years, they can be productive as soon as possible. So we've structured the program. Well, we've had 5 years now. We've iterated 5 different times. We've seen what's worked, what doesn't work. We've gone through lockdown with apprenticeship. We've come out of that. We've had hybrid working, all of that. And so we've structured the program such that the apprentices now will work together as a team initially before going into kind of a client team. And we've done a number of things with the program to make it lean, but it's very narrowly focused on answering the question, what's the quickest path to value within a client project through the 2 years.
Yeah, and it sounds like I suppose you've adapted over the 5 years what works best for you guys in ZincWorks, which seems to be, you're very much about adaptability and making things work. So it's incredible for the tech apprentices who are there, and it's great to hear that it's working alongside internships and grad programs, because I suppose for companies out there, there is a lot of companies do actually have internship, have grad programs, and they also have the tech apprenticeship. So there's quite a number of ways. So it's great to hear that it's working for you guys. And I suppose for any decision makers who might be considering hiring a tech apprentice this year, we're currently recruiting employers for our software development apprenticeship programs nationwide. We'll pop our links to our website and how you can get in touch with us within the comments. So, David, from a software delivery perspective, what kinds of skills or qualities have tech apprentices brought that have stood out within your teams?
So I hinted on it a little bit earlier, but in my mind, there have been a couple of kind of standout examples of people who have gone through the apprenticeship program and who just excelled through the 2 years and thereafter in whatever project they ended up in. So from a technical standpoint, within ZincWorks, we have a very lean program that's tuned to the skill sets or the tech stack that our projects would use. So we don't have any fluff in what we might consider the formation program for the apprentices. And so the ones who stand out are the ones who have taken the technical skills that they needed to develop and just owned that. So that in practice looks like, yes, doing the classes within the apprenticeship in the classroom training, but then in on-the-job training, just really being curious, taking things past their finishing point, looking for gaps in their knowledge, and assisting others as well. And then outside of their own remit, once they are put into a team, or even within the team that they start off in as a group of apprentices, the ones that always stand out, if they speak up early, they're looking for where they don't understand something, and then they're asking for help. And so it's not a case that people come in and they're expected, just because it's a professional environment, to be able to be self-sustaining. It's very much the opposite. And then on top of that, it's the people who extend themselves past what they're comfortable with who end up growing the most. So a group or an apprentice might volunteer for work before they're feeling ready. They might take on a task that they don't understand how to do, and they learn how to do that task as they start delivering on it. And then on the flip side of that, the kind of ones who struggle might be those who would try and prepare as much as possible before they feel ready to take on the work. And they might end up denying opportunities because they feel that they're not ready. So the ones who are engaging, proactive, attempting to take on added responsibilities, they're the ones who end up growing a lot. The other thing is, and I think it's very key to mention, so we went through a program within lockdown period, and we've since adapted to kind of a hybrid model. But I think that the idea of in-person engagement is completely kind of underestimated in terms of value that it brings junior engineers in general. In-person engagement, as someone who is very new to the industry, accelerates their growth. And there's kind of a bit of a pattern now where a lot of junior engineers would prefer to work from home because they think that it's more beneficial to them and they get more of their own time, and all that's true. But one day extra in the office a week might yield one or two conversations that were unplanned, that they wouldn't have had the opportunity to engage in if they were working from home. and those marginal gains stack up over time, especially over the 2 years for an apprenticeship. And so the people who are standing out in my mind, they're the ones who they turn up every day. They're making use of turning up every day. They're engaging conversations with their peers and their teams. They're extending themselves, looking for responsibilities to take on without being asked, and really just being this kind of self-sustaining, self-motivated individual who admits they're not an expert in anything,
Yeah.
but are willing to reach out to other people. And the quote I always use with the first week of an apprentice joining a new team is see how many of your teammates you can annoy. So the apprentice should be looking at who's around me that can help, who's around me that I can absorb and suck as much information and experience out of. And so yeah, it's up to the senior engineers to push back and say, I don't have time for that. It's not up to the junior engineers to mind their time on their behalf.
Yeah, and I suppose like what you've said there with the apprenticeships, they are a 70-30 split, where 30% of the time they're in education over the 2 years, 70% of the time they're within within the organization. So they get to build on their technical skills and like what you're saying about that communication skills, building that kind of communication skills, being able to be proactive, to be in the room with the right people and learn the right skills. So it's really valuable for them, and I suppose it's interesting to see the most proactive. So ask the questions would be, I'd say, your advice. Push forward to learn as much as you can within that time.
Yeah, be a bit annoying. That's a good habit to get into. Nothing wrong with being a bit annoying to other people. You get known like that, so.
Yeah, and I suppose given the fast pace of the industry today, how do you see the role of tech apprentices evolving within organizations over the next few years?
Trying to predict the future is always a tricky one, especially within the software industry, and especially with what's going on in the software industry today. I do think that apprenticeships in general will become more valuable as time goes on. So we've got this blend of what you might call formal learning within class training within the apprenticeship, and then you've got the on-the-job training. And what the on-the-job training does is it makes the apprentices or the individuals learning extremely lean. So it identifies the tasks that they need to do, and it identifies how they can be valuable to the company. So that on-the-job training, it no longer becomes a theoretical module that they learn in class on, okay, here's what I think is important. They learn very quickly what is important and how they can step up and start delivering value towards whatever challenge that might be. So the on-the-job training is really good for identifying a really efficient pathway to delivering value, something that 4 years in a university without any internship would not be able to do.
And I think that's interesting that they can add value, straight away to, or within those 2 years, add value and grow as like you mentioned, software development is, technology in itself is evolving all the time. So having that value of being at the coalface where you can learn throughout the apprenticeship, I think I would have to agree. I do think it is going to be, very, very valuable going forward in a method of hiring, I suppose, within organizations. And I suppose for business leaders facing similar challenges and exploring alternative hiring methods, would you recommend the tech apprenticeships to other employers, and why?
Yeah, just on the last question, the previous question, I might tag something on because it's something that I feel quite strongly on. So right now, we've got a very good apprenticeship program. It's 2 years, and those apprentices graduate with the level 6. I think something that can be done within this area is to look at kind of an extended apprenticeship program such that whoever completes whatever it is, 3 or 4 years, would end up with a level 8 equivalent. So that's a little bit of a gap at the moment within the apprenticeship model. So I think so we've got something really good. We've got a really good model for apprenticeships. And it's just about extending and kind of leveraging the strength that comes along with apprenticeships and building it out a little bit more. So to your question about alternative,
recommending
tech apprentices, yeah. So in general, I'd say yes. However, it comes with a caveat. So we've gone through 5 years of apprenticeships now, and we've got a really good, really lean program today where we can get our apprentices delivering value well within the 2 years that they are with us. There has been quite a bit of effort in iterating over the program internally in ZincWorks over the years. And so for any employer that's thinking about it, I'd say that the maximum value comes from putting in the effort to creating a good program, a good structure for whether it's 1 apprentice or 5 apprentices, having a good structure for them through the 2 years with clear milestones and objectives. And that helps them see how they should be progressing through the 2 years. So it looks like things like having that one-to-one support. Again, I'd bang on about being in person. I don't think remote apprenticeships are overly effective in comparison to in-person apprenticeships. And having that social learning, having that environment where the apprentice is just soaking up as much information and expertise as possible from the people around them. So it's a great model, but preparation does need to go in, and the way you maximize the value from the apprenticeship is by putting in that effort and kind of iterating over time as well.
Yeah, and I suppose the apprenticeships are established since 1999. The apprenticeships are up and running since 2018. So there has been huge developments in the apprenticeships, and the structure of them and how they work. But I do agree with you. I do think the more you put into the success of the apprentices, the more you're going to get out ultimately within that 2 year. And we do have some companies that would hire and would be completely remote or hybrid, and they do tend to work really well. I think it very much depends on the organization and the needs within an organization as well. But it is it's great to see the amount of effort and work that ZincWorks have put into the apprentices, and that you can see that I suppose that value over the 2 years. So that's a credit to yourself and the other mentors and people within ZincWorks. David, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming on today.